classified. Okay. So systemic poison is firstly classified into 3 types. So neurotic poison, cardiac, and then asphyxiant poison. And neurotic poison is further classified into 3 types: cerebral, spinal, and then peripheral poison. And again, cerebral poison is further classified into 3 types: somniferous, inebriants, and then deliriant. And on today's class, we'll discuss the spinal poison and then somniferous poison. So first, spinal poison. So Strychnos nox vomica. So this is the tree and fruits of the nox vomica. So you can see on the picture. And the grayish color seed, that is the nox vomica seed. And it is present inside the fruit. The orange color is the fruit. Strychnine, brucin, and loganin. So these are the 3 active principles of strychnine seed. And the fatal dose is either 1 to 2 cross seeds or 15 to 30 mg of active principle. And the fatal period is 1 to 2 hours. And the use of strychnine, mostly used to kill rodents and stray dogs. Mechanism of action of strychnine poisoning. So the strychnine will mostly act on the anterior horn cells of the spinal cord, and it will inhibit the function of the glycine, and that will cause the excitation or the convulsion symptoms. So inhibition of the glycine will cause the excitation of the muscles. Symptoms and signs that is seen in the poisoning. Strychnine poisoning includes bitter taste, which is intense in nature, restlessness, feeling of suffocation, twitching of muscle, and rigidity increases, and the convulsion. So convulsion, first it is clonic in nature, and later on it will become tonic. So clonic means twitching of the muscles, and tonic means stiffness of the muscles. Face becomes sinus, eyeballs become prominent, as we see in the case of hypothyroidism. Pupils become dilated, and there is presence of signs such as opisthotonus. So opisthotonus means the bending of body backward like a bow. Pleurostotonus means on the side way, bending of the body on the side way, and improstotonus means bending forward of the body. And rhesus sardonicus can be seen. So rhesus sardonicus means that is due to the spasm of the facial muscles. And beside this, the mind and the consciousness level of the person will remain intact or clear. So there is no any defect on the consciousness level of the person. So whatever the symptoms we see in the strychnine poisoning, it can be mistaken as tetanus symptoms. Treatment, there is no any specific antidote in this case, and stomach wash and emesis should not be done, and the patient should be kept in dark room. And the reason being, so the noise, light, or air will initiate or aggravate the convulsion symptoms. And the first steps that we need to do in such cases is to control the convulsion, and that is done by using the medications such as diazepam, midazolam, phenobarbital, or we can use muscle relaxation medication such as pancuronium or succinylcholine. And once the convulsion has been controlled, then we can do symptomatic and supportive treatment. So the medical legal importance, first one is it can be accidental poisoning, okay? And the second one is homicidal, because it will produce or mimic the symptoms of tetanus. Now, how can we differentiate the symptoms that we see in the tetanus and then strychnine poisoning? So these are some of the features. So the first one is history. So in case of poisoning, the person or the individual will give the history of ingestion of seed. And in case of tetanus, history of injury, first feature. And the second one, convulsion. So the convulsion will start from whole part of the body at a time in case of poisoning, whereas in the case of tetanus, it will start from the lower jaw, locked jaw. Okay, and between the convulsion, the muscle are relaxed in case of poisoning, whereas in the case of tetanus, muscle are rigid and stiff. And on lab investigation, so when you send the urine, blood, etc. for lab investigation, in case of poisoning, it will come positive for strychnine, whereas in the case of tetanus, you will find out Clostridium tetani organism. Okay, so these are some of the features to differentiate poisoning, strychnine poisoning, and then tetanus. Of him, and the scientific name is Papaver somniferum. So you can see on the picture that is the poppy capsule with flower. Okay. Now, how the opium is extracted or obtained? So opium is extracted from the unripe poppy capsule. So you can see on the picture that is the unripe form of poppy capsule. So once you give the vertical incision on the unripe poppy capsule, milky exudate comes out, and that milky exudate will turn into brownish or black in color. You can see in the picture the person is collecting the black brownish color exudate. That is the opium, and that is how opium is obtained. Okay. So by giving vertical incision on the unripe poppy capsule, milky exudate comes out, and which will turn into brownish or black in color. That is the opium. And this opium contain around 25 different types of alkaloids, and which are classified into two groups depending on the chemical structure. So one is the phenanthrene group, and the next one is isoquinoline group. So some of the example of phenanthrene are morphine, codeine, and thebaine, whereas in the isoquinoline group, papaverine and narcotin. Now this is the dry form of the poppy capsule along with the seeds. So they are non-poisonous, edible. So the fatal dose in case of opium is 0.5 to 1 gram, morphine is 200 milligram, and codeine is 800 milligram. And the fatal period is up to 48 hours. And the clinical feature that we see in opium poisoning are classified into three stages. So the first stage is excitation stage, and the second one is stupor, and the third stage is coma. So the stage of excitation includes symptoms such as sense of well-being, the person becomes talkative, excited, mental activity increases, person becomes restless, face appear flushed and anxiety free. So all of the symptoms we see in the stage of excitation are hyperactivity. Includes headache, nausea, vomiting. There is sense of weight in limbs. Okay, giddiness, drowsiness. People become constricted. Face and lips, ears, and feeling senses all over the skin, and the temperature and pulse. acid will become congested. Later on, there is temporary step of breathing that is called Cheyne stroke breathing. And the treatment and management in case of opium, first one is maintain airway, breathing and circulation. And the second step is stomach wash should be done using potassium permanganate solution. And once the stomach wash is done, you have to introduce activated charcoal into the stomach, okay? And this will absorb further unabsorbed poison. And the antidote that we use in opium is naloxone. And the dosage 2 mg, it should be given intravenous, and you can repeat every 10 to 15 minutes. And the dose should not exceed more than 10 mg. Okay, and the rest is symptomatic and supportive treatment should be done. So the post-mortem finding, external findings: face, fingertips, and earlobes appear cyanose, and there is presence of froth from the external respiratory orifice. Internal finding: airway tract, there is presence of froth, okay, and of opium. And lungs, internal organs will appear congested, hemorrhage, and edematous. The medical legal importance, first one is suicidal poisonings, because opium will produce painless death. And the second one is accidental poisonings. So in drug addict, due to the overdose of the opium, and in case of therapeutic, that is due to the miscalculation of the drugs. Accidental poisoning can happen. And the third one is it can be used as aphrodisiac agent to increase sexual desire or libido. And the fourth one is it is used as doping in horse race to increase the performance of the horse. Opium can be used. And the last one is it is an ideal infanticide poison. So these are the 5 medical legal importance of opium. And this is the assignment for you. Okay, so these are the 5 questions. Make the note of this one.